All right. Welcome, guys. Future Contributions Business Development webinar. It is the wake-up call, even though it's the evening, but it's a midweek. It's hump day, waking up, getting to the week, getting into the grind. So we're going to get started here. If you guys are new to Future Contributions, I'm Josh Yoder, co-founder of Future Contributions. And my story started quite a while ago. I know I look pretty old, but not really that ancient. 10 years ago, I got my start in the sales industry. And where I started in was really in the construction field. And coming fresh out of that, I came into the fitness industry, which is great. I love personal training. I love going into the gym and working out. Then somebody told me that, hey, you should start selling personal training. I thought, hey, that is an awesome idea. So I go into the gym, I get a personal training job. And in that, I learned that not only do I have to train people, I have to actually sell the program. That's where it fell on my face. So long story short, what we're going to cover here in this segment is a little bit of where I come from. So for anybody new, you got to know who I am and my story, my background. And then we'll build off of that. And then we're going to go into a couple pain points that some people have sent in, had some questions on, and how to overcome them in business. So going back to the gym industry, it was a good start. I really enjoyed what I was doing. But about 3 weeks into it, just not being able to sell, but having a lot of fun training, the CEO comes to me, pulls me into his office, and we were kind of buddy, at least I thought we were. And he sits me down and says, hey, Josh, look, you're a really nice guy, but you're not really good at sales, and you never really will be because you're too nice. You talk about being crushed. Man, I was brought down to a level of lowness I didn't know that existed. Like, I'm talking bedrock, and then what's beneath bedrock, that's where I was being smashed. And so it took me a couple of days to recover from that. At that point, I had 3 kids, a wife at home. I just quit my construction career because I was like, this is it. I'm taking my step out into the sales field and into entrepreneurship, because in that we had to run our own business like it was our own business. So in that, I was kind of lost, but it took me a couple of weeks to get my head together, rather a couple of days. And I was like, you know what? No, I found something I really like. I liked running a business. I liked being in sales. So what I did is I just became the student of sales and entrepreneurship. I bought every book, every program that I could find on sales and marketing and entrepreneurship. And more importantly, I went and started asking people in the field. So I got my next job was actually in the automotive industry, selling cars, the typical used car smells, that salesman, right? But thank God I wasn't the typical one. I was the one you wanted to come to. But in that, I learned so much. And within 6 months, just became the #1 sales rep. The people who had a portfolio that were working with people for the last 7 to 10 years. So how's that possible? How do you go from not being able to sell to sell? And a phrase I love to use all the time is salespeople are not born. Salespeople are made. Entrepreneurship, nobody's born a business owner. We work ourselves into that. So today, going from being not a salesperson at all to building myself up to be a #1 salesperson within 6 months in the automotive industry, I would excel my career in that success path. But then I kind of jumped off of that career into another sales in construction, because I'd done construction before. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to sell the construction material, the roofing, the siding, the windows, everything that goes into, selling the homes and structural features. I went into that and fell on my face. It was ugly, guys. It was ugly. But I figured out that with every new avenue in entrepreneurship and in sales and life in general, you never know it all. And life has a great way of humbling you. It will continually wake you up and let you know that, unfortunately, as much as we love to be superhuman as salespeople and entrepreneurship, it's not the case. So we continually have to go back to the mirror and look at ourselves and never let our guard down. We always have to understand. We always have to be pushing forward. We always have to be learning, and we always have to be humble. If I could say anything of the most important thing in owning your own business and becoming a salesperson and in marketing and in life it's going to be learning the art of humility. That's right, the art of humility. Because as we all heard the saying, pride comes before the fall, but pride's really destructive. If you think that you're all that and you have all the answers and you figured it out, how can we learn anymore? You know, everybody in life has a good book in them. I believe that everybody on the face of this planet, the 8 billion or whatever people that's here, everybody has a good book that it could put out that we could learn from. So always be learning, always be growing. And that's what I did. And, I just became the #1 salesperson, this time on a national level. The industry that I was in construction sales, was a national company. And within just 7 months, I made $250,000 of my own money, by the way, and $250,000 in the bank, my money, and life was great. And then I realized that I've kind of mastered the art of the sales game the last 10 years. And I was like, how can I take this and start teaching other people? But before I did that, I knew there was something yet missing, because I also had a passion of owning a business. And before that, briefly before the gym sales, I did own my construction business very shortly, and that failed miserably as well. So that was also a vulnerable point, is, hey, I got really good at sales, but wasn't really good at owning a business. So I knew that I had to test what I took from the last 10 years and created a system on. So, hey, how can I put this into a system and prove it and put it to the test? So what I did is I went into the lowest class business industry that you can imagine. And here in South Florida, pressure washing is a very big thing. And you can turn any corner that you want and you're going to find a pressure washer. And the standard of professionalism is really low, but you get beat a lot in business by people trying to underbid you. This is the underbid king of industries. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my sales system and marketing and everything I learned, I'm going to put into this business. My goal was within the first year to do $1 million. Just fell short of that, but I knew that we weren't quite finished with that. So I continued to build on it. Within, the next year we did it was 1.2 million the next following year. And then moving forward, going up to $200,000 a month in a small pressure washing, quote, business. So out of this, it's been proven, it's been tested. What I'm going to teach you guys here through the FC system, which you can go to futurecontributions.com, and we have a Kickstarter program. We have a sales program, a marketing and leadership program. And in the Kickstarter program, we teach you how to run, scale, start businesses. So maybe that you have a passion within you and you want to start a business, but you don't know how. Well, we have bankers who are ready to help you. We have trademark attorneys, CPAs, lawyers, all set aside waiting for your call to help you in the connections that you need to, hey, bring your dream, your idea, like we say, and we take care of the rest. And that's what we do here at Future Contributions. So thank you guys so much for showing up today. Some of the pain points that was brought to my attention was what it boils down, what is sales? What is sales? So we're going to talk a little bit today about pain points in business, and we're just going to pick on sales today because that's really a big one in the business in general. So when you look at sales, when you really boil down sales, is it exchanging product? You could say that one way. That's a very 30,000 foot view. Is it exchanging value? Hey, now we're getting closer. But really in sales do not move your product and service. Closing moves your product and service. So you can be the best salesman in the world. I say it like this, that sales will highlight the deal, but closing is what actually brings the money in. So you can showcase your product and your service as much as you want, and it could be the best thing on planet Earth. But if you can't get somebody to say, yes, I want to buy it, yes, I can see your point of view, it's a great product, you still didn't make the close. So the exchange happens in that you have to change, and that's it. You have to change the customer's mind about you, your product, your company. So that's what we get into. And the whole FC system and the sales system and the Kickstarter program, we teach you that, sell yourself first, sell your product second, sell your company third. And a lot of times, if you sell yourself first, the next two just sell themselves. So first off, key point of sales is it can be boiled down to, we have to create a change within the perspective eyes of our customer sitting across the table or beside us. You want to change their view that they're saying, I'm not sure about you, I'm not sure about your product, I'm not sure about your company, to all three of those being yes, yes, yes. And when you have that, when value exceeds price, people are going to buy. So next is, if change is the boiled down point of closing and sales, what's the most resistant thing in human nature? Change. So the very thing we're trying to, represent or oppose or try to overcome is change. But human beings naturally like consistency. So how do we actually change somebody? And the sales industry overall have done a really great job in the last 100 years on the outside view of us trying to change the customer's view. It's called hard closing. Well, here at FC, we don't do that. Hard closing does not work. And the times that it does work, you have a customer who bought out of manipulation, obligation, fear, whatever else it was, but they're not telling their friends, family, enemies, and friends. That's right. If you do it right, you might get some word spread to your enemies, which is great. So with that, what we want to do is we want to translate into that person change. So how do we bring change to somebody without bringing an iron fist and just trying to arm wrestle them into a deal? At the end of the day, it's your whole view on it. We're not trying to change that person. We're not trying to sell the product or the service. This is where salespeople get it wrong. This is where I got it wrong for so many years. And even up to this date, I can catch myself. And I stop myself. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, Josh, back up, slow down. You're not selling a product and service. You're not trying to close your product and the service. You need to sell and close what your product and service will do for them. Okay, you're selling a roof. So a roof is not a cool thing. Not many people look at it. It's not really fun for a lot of people. They could care less, but it's a high ticket item. So how do you get somebody to get emotional about a $50,000 product service that they're hardly ever going to look at or care about unless it leaks? That's just it. Is it going to leak? How would you feel if you didn't have to worry about that old roof when you're laying there at night, that it's not going to be leaking on you, or that you're not going to have to dish out another $6,000, which you did last month? How would that make you feel? So you're really painting a picture of whatever your product and service is in the construction industry, that you're not selling it, you're selling what it does for them. And that's going to be the biggest key. So next question I had is, how do you set yourself apart from your competition? How do we do that? How do we set ourselves apart from the competition? So you might say this, well, I set myself apart from my competition because I'm unique. Well, every salesperson is going to find themselves unique, and every customer is going to be presented with a salesperson. So that doesn't really make you or your product different. You could also say my product and the way they're presented, or my company or warranties and all of that. And all those are true surface level things. But the only thing that's going to be different in every sale is going to be the customer. It's going to be the customer. So many times we get so caught up with trying to push our agenda that we're not putting ourselves in the position of our customers and hearing ourselves from the customer's viewpoint, from what the customer feels and likes and wants. And that's where it comes down to asking the right questions, but asking the right questions at the right time. So what I mean by all this, when you pull up in your sales truck or your sales vehicle and you get to the door, it's not about why you're there. A human being is standing in front of you. I know, as much as the entire world wants to move us into an AI technology to where we're all robots and talking to each other in like that manner, deep down, humanity will always need that connection, right? So we want to treat them as a human being, not as a robot. It's not like, hi, my name's Josh, and we go right into our pitch. Here at FC, at Future Contributions, we do not teach you how to pitch your deal. We teach you how to listen and to hear the customer. The cool thing is you don't have to necessarily know how to close every deal. There's no cookie cutter way to do it. There's a lot of tips and suggestions we'll teach you on how to stay on track, but the customer will give you all the information you need to close them. All you need to do is ask the right and appropriate questions, and your customer will open up to you. But your customer is not going to open up to you unless they feel like that they can trust you. So what sets you apart is your ability to listen to your customer, because your customer has the key to unlock and to close every single deal. That's what sets you apart from your competition. Next is, setting yourself apart by letting the customer sell themselves. This gets into our program. We call it P.P.R. And inside joke, I know Rob's listening. He gets another 10 cents. But with P.P.R, what that means is it's going to be professional, personable, and relatable. I'm going to say it again. It's going to be professional, personable, relatable. And if I can work this computer, I'm going to pull this up here for us. And my musician, Tony, has guided me through this because he's smarter than me. All right, so you guys can see it now. This is part of the FC system. We're going to have the key to selling and closing, P.P.R. So P.P.R stands for what I just said: professional, personable, relatable. And you can go through this. You can get all this through the sales system and Future Contributions. And some of our overview videos will kind of go through this as well. Some of those videos are free, so you can take a look at that. But in this, we got to come across, guys, we got to come across professional. If we don't come across as a professional right off the bat, they are not going to listen to anything else you have to say. But as you know, you can be a really good professional. But if you're a professional and you're a jerk about it, you might know your stuff. You might be really good, but you're not very personable. What is personable? It means that coming down to the customer's level, talking in terminology of which the customer will understand. You start talking about, you're selling construction material, and you're talking about fascia and soffit and drip edge and hips and ridges and all this other stuff. They have no idea what you're saying, guys. You got to use terminology that makes sense to them as a professional. And then, but as you bring it down to their level, say the name and then kind of explain it. You're doing electrician work, right? You're hooking up electrical box, and you're going to say the breaker box and the amp fuse of this, breaking it down to the simple to where they understand it, that, yeah, you're a professional, but they can really feel you're breaking it down to them on a personal level. And then also relatable. This is so huge. You can be professional, you can be personable, but if you can be relatable is finding common ground with the customer. Common ground could be as simple as, if they are a dog lover, if you're a dog lover, it has to be authentic. You got to find something that you actually can connect with the customer. Guys, if you try to fake this, they're going to feel it. There's a lot of fakes out there. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to fleece the customer and just make a connection so we can make a sale. If you truly and generally don't like people, sales isn't really going to be a good fit for you, or entrepreneurship, because at the end of the day, as an employee, your boss writes your paycheck. Well, as a business owner and as a salesperson, the customer writes your paycheck. So it becomes completely different. So you go from having one boss to 1,000. And in that, going back to what we were talking about, by being relatable, is really finding out, oh my gosh, you're from that state as well. That's so cool. Do you remember this place? Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Or you like football. You start talking football. You really get into it and actually build a connection, get the customer emotional. And we go through this a lot through the FC system, is you want to sell with logic, but close with emotion. Sell with logic, but close with emotion. Get emotional in the sale. You definitely want to do that. And then also with this, I have another slide here for us. It's going to be the bridge of rapport. So the bridge of rapport is going to look like this. The bridge of rapport is within meeting the customer. When you first meet them, if I can use this terminology, is the Grand Canyon is between you and the customer. You're here on one side, the customer's over here. Well, you have to get over to them. We're not Evel Knievel. We're not just going to jump in with a dirt bike over to the customer. Although some salespeople try the Evel Knievel method, but they burn at the bottom every time. So we don't want to do that. The second method is a lot of people try to talk their way to the sale, and they try to fill the Grand Canyon with like mere words. Well, that's not really effective either, because until you talk the customer's ear off and you're just pushing and pushing onto the customer, now you're talking about the hard close, right? So what we want to actually do is, it's called the bridge of rapport for a reason. We want to build a relationship with the customer outside of why we're there, also why intertwining while we're there. And if we can do that correctly, we build a bridge that now we can walk across the bridge and escape all that crazy work that other salespeople try to do. And just by building simple trust, walk across. Now we're in front of the customer. Now the customer can hear what you're saying. Now they can see what your product and what your service is and what you're selling. And then through that, what we can do with that is we can close the deal, guys. And that's what we're really all about. When you're in sales and when you're in business, it's not just closing a deal for yourself, but closing it for your customer and having the results that way. So those are pretty much the questions that, I had that was submitted to me. And when you tie the P.P.R. and the bridge of rapport together, at the end of all this is what all this means. That the customer through P.P.R. will put internal pressure on themselves to buy. What does it do to you when you have a relationship with somebody and they tell you that they seen this movie or went to this place or did that, and it was really exciting, and you trust this person and you have general rapport with them? They're not trying to convince you about something. They're building an internal pressure within you that you want to do it just by the way they're presenting it. So when you're professional, personable, and relatable, it builds that internal pressure to where they're going to want to buy from you, and they create their own sales pressure to push out to sign the deal. See, it's not about you trying to push and oppose on them. It's trying to have them close the deal for themselves. So we dive deep into that here at Future Contributions. Guys, we do this every single Wednesday. You guys can email me at any time at info@futurecontributions.com, info@futurecontributions.com. Any questions you would have in business and you would like to present, then I can have them here for us and we can kind of go over them. So I know we talked a lot today about sales. In the few remaining minutes that we have left, I'll simply talk about a little bit about business structure as well. And as an entrepreneur, outside of the scope of the sales end of things, of running a business and the daily grind of entrepreneurship, it can weigh heavy on a lot of people. So how do you keep your team motivated and yourself motivated while still running a business? And if you're in a small business, then a lot of times it's just you and maybe another guy, or sometimes you're a sole entrepreneur and it's just you. At the end of the day, it's not the size of the leader within you. It's the size of the leader that's leading you. Let's say that again. It's not about the size of the leader within you. It's about the size of the leader that's leading you. And especially this is harder for men than for girls, women, me especially. You need to have somebody who is inspiring you that you can trust and you can look up to, and then they're guiding you on the right path. In entrepreneurship, keeping your headspace right. You cannot afford to let people rent space in your head. It's full of your own crap. Your head's full of all of that. So we got to get our heads clear of ourselves, much less get it clear of other people's junk, right? So we got to keep our mindset right. We have to keep a mindset of just intuitiveness and knowing what our purpose is. Because at the end of the day, my business partner, Andrew Haydad, and I'll get him on this podcast at some point. He's absolutely amazing. He is a huge reason to why Future Contributions even exist. And he'll always say it this way, that, we'll always stand in your greatness and never into your limitations. And any mentor, any leader in your life will always do that for you. You always want to take a stand in somebody else's greatness and not their limitations. And a lot of times, guys, we can be our own worst critic. We need to back ourselves up for beating ourselves up. Maybe we had a hard day, or we don't think our business is where it needs to be. We need to talk to ourselves. We need to talk to that inner leader within us and say, hey, let's shape up here. Let's start beating ourselves up, because beating yourself down is not going to grow yourself up. It doesn't work that way. So we have enough internal pressure, enough other people trying to beat us down, that we don't need to do that to ourselves. And we can only do that if we have our mindset right. So again, the first and most important person that needs to be led in life, in a business, sales and marketing and everything else, is us. We need to lead ourselves first. We need to be a good leader of us first, so that we can lead our families well. If you can lead your family well, you're going to have a great business life. If you don't have a good family life, you're going to really struggle in business. I've learned that. I have a rock star wife, my wife, Martha. She is a huge pillar that really just keeps the glue together, of the family, and helps run the business and all of it. And you need to have those people in your life, guys. And if we don't have our families right, guys, go to the leadership program. Whether your life is going perfect or whether it's needs some work, just like mine, the leadership program we really dive deep. Me and Andrew, more so Andrew, really dives into, the human psychology behind having the emotional part of your brain engaged with your family. And when that is really engaged with your family, wow, it's amazing what you can do outside of all of that. So guys, thank you so much for everyone who is on live with us today. Thank you for showing up. What I want to talk about here is, if you look in the chat right now, if you look in your chat feed, the leadership program is going to be there with a link. And then the other one I'm going to publish this right now. So you'll see the leadership. And then guys, I'm going to put up the 7-figure Ignite program. The 7-figure Ignite program, guys, is all of our packages together. It's going to be the Kickstarter, the leadership, the sales and marketing, all in one package. And we made it quite a bit more affordable for you guys. So I'm going to put that down into the chat right now. And that's going to be the 7-figure Ignite program. And that has all of our programs together. So again, guys, thank you so much. God bless. Have a great one. Never give up. And I'm going to end with this, that no matter what, when you walk into a deal, a sale is always made. Either they sold you on why they're not going to buy, or you sold them of why they should. So let's make sure it's in that favor. Have a great day, guys.